So these tier lists have been big hits, so I guess we're just going to keep them rolling. This one is very special. It is a Call of Duty Treyarch Zombies perk tier list. I don't want to say it wrong, so I said it slow. The main thing here is there's not really any criteria. We're just going to go through and talk about what the perk does and how useful it is if it's situational. There are different like abilities from game to game. Their perks have been reworked over the years, especially with Black Ops 4 and Cold War. How there's the skill tiers in Cold War and there's the modifiers in Black Ops 4. I don't know all the modifiers. I know most of them, but at the end of the day, if the perk's dog shit, it's gonna be dog shit. You're probably not gonna put it in your modifier. Like I don't think there's any modifiers that are game changing in that game. Which I was a fan of Black Ops 4 Zombies. So if you don't like that, then fuck you, I guess. I don't know. The first one. Well, actually, before we even get fucking started, I didn't edit this beforehand. We don't need that many rows. I think every perk is situational. There's none that are like avoid it. I mean, come on, guys. These perks are supposed to help you. They're not going to be a net negative, other than one that we'll get to. So first off, good to have. Probably like one of the most average perks. Just gives you more ammo. I mean, you don't hate it. You don't love it. Ammo's not really a problem in the modern zombies. Um, Basically, I think the modifier, it just reloaded your non-equipped weapon, which is useful as well. So you shoot with one and then you switch the other. It should be reloaded by then. I don't remember the cooldown on it, but a good perk to get us started. Which unlike the next one, Blaze Phase. Okay, I think this one you just crouch in place and it creates like a aura around you, and then you like dash forward through zombies, killing them. It was really fun in like the 9 boss fight, especially with the modifier on, because the modifier just makes it more powerful, I believe. But yeah, definitely very situational. Like how often are you just gonna crouch still for like 10 seconds and dash forward? I almost said Luna's Howl. I don't know what that's from, but this is called Blood Wolf Bite. Luna is the name of the wolf that you summon. It's like every 45 seconds it summons a wolf that just goes ham on zombies for I don't know how long. 45 seconds is a long time. If you know, you know. Uh, no, in zombies it is. You don't think about it. And then the modifier just kind of give you like mini power-ups. Nothing too special. It was in Black Ops 4. If I say modifier, that means it was in Black Ops 4. If I say skill, that means it was in Cold War. Other than that, I'll specify the game. Deadshot, first introduced in Black Ops, kind of dog shit back then, kind of useless. It just locked onto their heads, which, why do you need that? But they did improve it in Black Ops 4. I believe the modifier made you do extra damage, or maybe just in general it made you do extra damage. But in Cold War is really fucking good, because I know for a fact it made you do extra damage, like critical damage. So I'd say in Cold War it'd be up here. Black Ops 1 would be here, so we'll put it in the middle. Definitely good to have. Another good to have perk, Death Perception. So I don't remember what the modifier was for this one, but basically you can see through walls, which is kind of useful for navigating the zombies maps nowadays. They're so big, and like going through doorways, you can see if there's a zombie there if you need to juke left or juke right. Something you don't really like think about, but it's not a strong preference for. Maybe an Outbreak. Outbreak is like one of the first things you want to buy because it gives you more salvage in Cold War. Definitely a very average perk. Double tap, I almost want to put it in must have, but we're going to go strong preference just because when it was first introduced, it kind of sucked. Depending on the weapon, it basically just increased your fire rate. Now it just doubles your damage, and there's some other bonuses in Cold War. I don't think this wasn't in Black Ops 4, I don't think. No, it wasn't. Because they had the stupid ass upgrade system where you have to pack punch your gun 4 times. But definitely a very preferred perk, doubling your damage effectively. Our first must-have, Dying Wish. Basically, when you died, you went into like Dying Wish form, and you're invulnerable. The zombies didn't see you, but when you came back out of it, it lasted like 10 seconds or so. When those 10 seconds were up, you came back and you had 1 health, so you kind of had to like get to a safe spot. When it was in the modifier, it basically just didn't it. I think it just made you have full health when you were done with Dying Wish form. So honestly, not that useful in modifier, but my dumbass had this on every game. Maybe it's because I'm bad at the game. I don't know. Some people didn't, but definitely a must-have. Strong preference for Electric Cherry. all it did was when you reloaded, it shocked the zombies around you. So if you're trapped in a corner, you hit the quick reload, gives you like the split second you need to make a decision. What like specialist you want to use or something, analyze it. And it depended on how empty your magazine was. So if it was fully empty, then you got a bigger shock versus like shooting one bullet and reloading, which we all have a bad habit of. Elemental pop. I want to put this one higher, but like sometimes it was one of the first ones I bought in Cold War. I mean, it's only been in one game. Uh, so realistically, I can't put it any higher. But it spawned a random AAT, which AATs are pretty OP. But it was, once again, the randomness of it, so you can't really put it higher. And I also like didn't buy this first. Maybe some games I'm like, oh man, that'd be a useful perk to have. But other games I'm like, no, I don't really need it. So it's definitely a middle of the road perk. The skills I think were more useful. Basically upgraded the tiers of the AATs. I don't remember. Ethereal Razor. See, this one is like an underrated one. I think people didn't. Well, especially me. I used the same perks every fucking game in Black Ops 4. It felt like. So I didn't really utilize the perk system to its fullest advantage and make like somewhat builds out of them, quote unquote, for those RPG nerds out there like me. You could build around this. It increased your melee damage and had some special stunning effects maybe in your modifier slot. I don't remember exactly, but it was actually pretty good. I remember using it one time. I was like, damn, this shit's useful. A perk so fucking useful, like, that everyone bought it in every game, that Treyarch was like, yeah, we're not putting it in this game because everyone fucking buys this shit. I mean, it just increases your health. Like, why would you not want that with these fucking crazy ass zombies nowadays? I don't really need to say much else about that. They fucking took it out of the game because it was such a must-have perk. I'm gonna go good to have for your mule kick. It just gave you an extra weapon at the end of the day. There's some special skills in Cold War. I don't know what it did in the modifier in Black Ops 4. I remember my friend used it in his modifier because he's weird, but I never fucking used this in Black Ops 4. Just use the Helion Salvo. Definitely a strong preference for PhD Flopper. I mean, when I was first introduced in Black Ops, just diving off the the lander there was fun. Exploding zombies, no explosive damage. So there's the likes of like the ray gun, all the rocket launchers, the Helion Salvo, and Black Ops 4. Well, this wasn't in Black Ops 4. There's a different one. Well, the next one actually. We'll talk about these together. I'll put this one down one just because sliding is not as satisfying as dolphin diving off a ledge. For real. No fall damage too. Another useful thing with these big ass zombies maps. So, and just mitigating explosive damage is hella useful. I don't know what this one did in your modifier, by the way. Quick revive. So in solo, it revives you in, well, the older CODs at least. And then in multiplayer, you revive people faster. Black Ops 4 and Cold War, it was changed a little bit. It has to do with health regen. But I think it's good to have it ultimately. It's kind of like, basically like Dying Wish, but the thing is, it was, the game it was in was a lot different. It wasn't like Black Ops 4 where I fucking put Dying Wish on every game. Like, there's games where I don't buy Quick Revive, especially in multiplayer. Like, you just suck at the game if you don't buy it, but I did suck at the game, so that's why Dying Wish is a must-have. Speed Cola, definitely a strong preference for. This is another one that they took out of the game in Black Ops 4 because they tried to innovate. I didn't mind it. Basically, you reload faster. There's some other bonuses in the skill tiers in Cold War. When I say they wrote it out of the game, basically if you had all 4 perks, you had Speed Cola. That was all it was. Another strong preference for Stamina Up. So like you think you buy this every game, but some maps you just do a camping strategy on, so you don't really need to run around faster. But I'll tell you what, when you have this perk and you like lose it, then you run, you feel slow as shit. You feel like you're moving backwards, you're moving so slow. So definitely take it for granted when you buy it. All in all, useful perk, sprint longer and faster. I almost called this one Bandolier Bandit because they're both like kind of a similar color. Stone Cold Stronghold. I'm gonna go don't mind it. My only issue with this one is you gotta stand still to activate it. And standing still in zombies just isn't a good like strat until you get set up. But once you get set up, this is a pretty useful perk. But I think there's just better options. That's the main reason that it's in don't mind it. And it was in Black Ops 4. I think, well, you didn't have to stand completely still. It created like a little aura, but at the end of the day. Didn't really matter. So at times, my impatient ass had this in the modifier like every fucking game, just because I wanted to go fast. Basically, you hit the box faster, you buy perks faster, you pack a punch faster. I think your specialist. So the modifier was pretty useful. I think your specialist charged faster with this, maybe. That's why. Excuse me. That's why I always ran it. But at the end, it's just good to have. Convenience thing. Definitely not a strong preference. For me, it was because I'm impatient. But for the average player, no. Tombstone situational. When you die out completely, you can go to your tombstone and get your shit back. There's a manipulation you can do to get like all the perks on transit, but not that many people play transit, so it's okay. I do get the appeal of it, but definitely situational. I don't even know what it fucking does in Cold War, to be honest. It's like the last thing I buy. I know they added it in after. This is a strong preference for. This is something I didn't use a lot, like in the early days of Black Ops 4, but as it went on, I learned to appreciate it. When you pull out your shield, the zombies that hit you hit the shield and not you, so you can like survive some crazy shit. I don't remember what it does in your modifier. I think, doesn't it create like an explosion when your shield breaks or something? I don't know. I'd have fact check me on that one, but it's definitely a strong preference for like just general use, camping or training. That's why I'm gonna put it in the strong preference. It's just versatile. Vulture Aid. Going on the don't mind it. It hasn't really been remade, man. There's a reason for that. Like it creates like green mist piles, and the zombies don't hit you, and you get ammo and cash. It's just not as useful as some other perks. I mean, I think on Buried, which Buried is an easy fucking map, so yeah, obviously I'm gonna buy this one. But if it's a harder map, like I don't think I could buy this one. I need other perks first to help myself set up. That's the main thing for it, and there's a reason it hasn't been remade. Like the next one, Who's Who. I was gonna create a category. I was gonna be a dick and create a category for Who's Who, but I think situational at best. You know, there is a time and a place. I guess you could have a Who's Who clutch. All this perk does is you like create a silhouette of yourself with like the starting pistol, and you can revive yourself, which is kind of useless if you ask me. Just use quick revive. um, there's a reason that this perk was only in one game and no one fucking bought it in that game. I'm gonna go strong preference for Widow's Wine. It was more useful for training strategies, but you can use it in camping strategies, so I can't be mad at that. Basically, when zombies hit you, if you have a grenade, it creates like an explosion of spider webs around you and freezes them. Super useful for saving your ass if you're bad at the game like I am. And then I think it just, when you melee them, it created the webs too. So it increased your melee damage. It's all around a useful perk. Excuse me. This is like, what was I gonna say? This is like Widow's Wine at home. It's like Winter's Wail. Come on, dude. But I was gonna put it lower, but I think this perk is pretty good. It just has a long ass cooldown, and when it does trigger, it's actually like better than Widow's Wine, but it triggers so less often. It's, I don't know, it's kind of stupid. I liked what they were trying to do. It just wasn't executed well. Definitely a middle of the pack perk. Shell. I don't even know what this one did. It just created like explosions and shit and like an aura. I'm gonna put it in the middle just because I don't know where to put it. But like when it did happen, it was cool. But I just didn't know like what the description was. I mean, I could probably look it up. I don't think it did anything crazy in the modifier either. It was added later in Black Ops 4, so that's probably why I don't know. So I'm just gonna be safe and put it in the middle like a pussy. Looking at this list, it's very surprising that, well, I mean, some of these are like in multiple CODs, but a lot of these Black Ops 4 specific perks are in the middle here or like lower down. Mainly in the middle though, which is good. I think they did a good job with that perk system in Black Ops 4. I need to go back and I want to do the Secret Sauce challenge in that game. But the problem is I don't have it on PC. Maybe if it goes on sale, I'll buy it and play some of those maps and do the Secret Sauce challenge. Because RNG is super fun, to be honest. And they did it was an interesting idea to have the modifiers and give you like an extra ability. In Cold War, they improved upon it with the skill tiers and using Ethereum to level up. They definitely innovated the zombies perk system over time. I did like how they tried to get rid of Jug because it was redundant in every game. Everyone bought it. I mean, obviously they got away from it. They made it less useful. I mean, it does give you more health, but it's not as necessary in Cold War. It's not one of the first perks I buy anymore. And I'm curious to see what Treyarch comes up with next. You know, if they come up with any new perks. I mean, Widow's Wine was a new perk and it stuck around. Dying Wish was an interesting idea as well. Same with Victorious Tortoise. I think Black Ops 4 is just underappreciated for its perk system. It was just different. People didn't like it, and it wasn't different to be different. It was different and like had a good idea on it. So I think if that's the moral of the story of this list, is as the perks evolved, it made me appreciate like we kind of took the perks for granted. It made me appreciate like what they were doing with Black Ops 4 and trying to change something. So I want to go back and play that game now. The plan here is to just keep doing these tier lists. There's a lot of fucking content in Call of Duty. I could do like an infinite amount of tier lists. We're gonna do these and then mix in gameplay because I do play games. And I think that's it for this one. Peace.